Hi, this is Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, with another video. This is, again, tricks that I do. This is one of the tricks that I do. I've been showing you a couple of different types of tricks that I do. Some of them are impromptu or very casual, informal kinds of presentations where there's no real plot line that goes with the trick or the reveal, the revelation there at the end, but it just happens and it captivates people in informal settings, which is where I usually do magic. It's informal settings with family and friends or new acquaintances at a restaurant or when we're sitting down somewhere and I have the opportunity, or at a card game or whatever. This is one of the more formal kinds of presentations that I do, and it's based on one of those legendary stories that magicians love to tell. So one of those stories would be the Burglas effect, which of course I've got a lot of material on that I do. And another one would be like the trick that cannot be explained, right? These sorts of presentations that happen. They happen to magicians, and then they tell their stories again, and it becomes the stuff of legend and conversation where people try to figure out, well, exactly how it can be done. This is one of those, and it centers around a man by the name of John Scarne. John Scarne was a card cheating expert that you, of course, know about as a magician. Those magicians out there that are watching this, he would consult with casinos and gambling institutions to teach them about protection against cheating. He would also consult with the United States military, as I understand it, and taught them about cheating in home card game kind of situations so that GIs could be better prepared as they would be deployed and, of course, get into trouble playing card games, that they would not get themselves into crooked games, that they would do it fairly. And also he would consult with Hollywood. So if you've ever seen The Sting, an Academy Award-winning movie, there's a scene there where Paul Newman is doing some ambitious card routine kind of presentation on a train. When the busy work is happening and the camera's on the hands, it's actually John Scarne in those shots doing those scenes, those takes with the cards. John was very good with a deck of cards, and as I understand it from some people who outlived him and could tell stories on video about him, he liked everybody to know that he was very good with a deck of cards. That he was not short on ego, as I understand it. What some people don't know is that he also would, according to legend, keep various personalities from organized crime very close. He would entertain mobsters. He would teach them various things, and he would learn from them. Most importantly, he would learn new techniques from them. And there are stories of him in smoke-filled rooms in the back of a hotel in New York City where he would demonstrate a singular feat that everybody expected. This is not a surprise effect. It's not something that he would do where he would awe them with a revelation that they did not see coming. People would line up to meet with John Scarne to see him do this one thing. They would bring their cards. Often it would be a brand new deck of cards. They would break the seals open on their new cards. They would crack it open, take out the cards. Of course, get rid of those cards that are not needed, jokers and advertising cards. And then they would shuffle their cards. And John was very clear about this, that he wanted them to be fair, that he wanted them to bring their own cards, that he could do this with any deck of cards. They would shuffle, they would wash them on the table, they would pass them around, they would fall on the floor, they would pass them around, and people would shuffle until they were satisfied that the cards were absolutely shuffled up into their liking. You see, it was very important that everybody knew for what they were going to see, that they knew that everybody in the room was not working with Mr. Scarne, that this was a fair and legitimate game. So they would shuffle. Then they would turn the cards over to John, and John would proceed to do a few shuffles of his own. He would shuffle the deck, burying the cards, making sure that they were fair, and then he would proceed to do the most amazing thing. You see, John would reach over one-handed, and he would do what we call dead cut. He would take off a portion of cards one-handed from a squared deck, and he would produce the ace of spades. See, this absolutely amazed everybody because they knew how fair it was. He would say, that's great. Shuffle them again. He would hand them out. The cards would be shuffled again. Once they were satisfied that they were shuffled well enough, John would take the cards back, and once again, he would shuffle them fairly. He would reach in one-handed, and he would proceed to dead cut to another ace, the ace of hearts. He would pass them back out. They would shuffle them again. They would examine them. They would look them over. They would confirm these were fair cards that were brought by the spectators. John would take them back. He would shuffle the cards again, burying the top card, fairly shuffling as he teaches others to do. And then he would reach in one-handed and he would proceed to dead cut to another ace, the ace of diamonds. Absolutely amazing stuff. Now, of course, by the odds, you realize that this would be much more easy to do when all of the aces are in the deck at the beginning. But when there's only one left, the odds decrease dramatically that John would be able to just by chance hit this card. He would have the cards shuffled again. He would take them back. He would shuffle them fairly on the deck, on the table. And he would reach in one-handed, dead cut into the deck, and everybody knew exactly what was coming. One last ace. That's the story of the legendary John Scarne's aces. I love this trick. I do this all the time. There's a lot of methodology that can go into this. There's actually quite a lot going on in this particular kind of presentation. This is my favorite way to do this because it's just so super clean. It is as clean as it sounds. People can shuffle the cards. The problem is that with magicians, it's a little too perfect, right? So it is a perfect method. So it's a perfect presentation. So obviously, much of the method, not all of it, but much of it can become apparent to magicians that see this. But it is a really, really clean and surprising kind of presentation. Sometimes I will do it telling the story of John Scarne. Sometimes I will do it much more informally. It can be done the way I do it, the way I'm doing it right here. It can be done with a borrowed deck, provided a little bit of handling. It can be set up in the proper way right there and can be done that way with the story and everything. Scarne's Aces. I love that. It was one of the first, long before I ever heard of the Bergloss effect as a younger magician, Scarne's Aces was the thing that I was most intrigued with and finding a way to do it. And I've spent a lot of time coming up with honest ways. You can see with my ace cutting thing that I sell on Penguin, making the cut. Finding ways to just do it for real, right? To take a deck of cards that has been shuffled by someone, to shuffle them, and then find the aces. This is not that method. This is another one that is much more clean, much more surprising, and can move very well with that story of John Scarne and his aces. So that is ace cutting, my absolute preferred way to do it. I love to do it this way, and every chance that I get to do it for people that have never seen it, I do this trick. So good luck with that. Happy magicking.